Secrets Unwrapped is brought to you in part by Cooler Guard with the cleaning power of enzymes, Fish Donkey, Hoffman Lures, White Rocks Design Studio, the official design company for Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped, Sugar Mountain Trading Company, Okuma Fishing, Get Inspired, Bennington Self Storage, P-Line, J. Robinson Outdoors, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste, the Outdoor Experience Guide Service serving southern Wisconsin for over 20 years, Corker Boats, and a proud member of the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce.
Welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, and boy, I am having such a great time doing this deer show here in Elkhorn, Wisconsin. And I have my very good friend Dale Helgeson here today, and he is also not only a national walleye tournament angler, but he also is a deer hunter. And we are out at one of his pieces of property, and we are going to learn how to put up a tree stand. So Dale, we took the tree stand out of the box, put it all together, ran it up the tree.
Yep.
Before we go into anything, what do I need to look for in a tree stand?
Well, the tree stand's all going to depend on what type of hunting you do. So if you're a mobile guy, you may want a backpack in a stand with climbing sticks or strap-on steps.
Right.
This is a lease property, so we get to leave our stands up.
Okay.
So I like the ladder stand. It's a little safer.
Okay.
You climb up, it's comfortable, really easy to move around. So that's kind of where I go for the comfort and safety.
Right. So they make these stands fairly easy to put together. Didn't take us very long at all. It's pretty high up there. But what am I looking for, though, for stability and the ground preparation or the tree preparation? What am I looking for to do before I put this up?
Well, so this is a 19-foot ladder.
Okay.
So you have to look at the tree and go, all right, where's it going to be 19 feet up? And you may have to take and trim some limbs off with a pole saw or something to get some of the limbs off so you can actually get the tree stand to the tree.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're going to be stuck away from it.
Okay. All right, folks, hang tight. We're going to take a quick little break, and then we're going to come back, and Dale's going to show us how to strap it to the tree and how to make it safe so that you can climb up and down. All right?
All right.
All right, hang tight. We'll be back with more right after this.
Welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. So now we got our stand kind of leaning against the tree, and we're going to kind of show you some of the steps with a ladder stand and what you got to do. So the first thing is make sure you check the ground to see if you can push it in the ground at all. So I just take and I jump on the stand to get it as low as I can go so it gets the most stability you can have so it won't sink when you're up in the stand so you can get it level on top. The next thing we do is we take this support arm and it goes up to the tree and you wrap this strap around. And you put the strap into the holder and tighten it as best you can. And this is just to hold the tree stand onto the tree. So once you pull this tight, then this is on there pretty good, so the stand can't come away from the tree. So then you have these straps that go around the tree to help hold it against the tree while you climb up so the stand doesn't flip over backwards. And you put it through this little D-rings. And once you get in the D-ring, you just pull it tight. Try to move the strap as much as you can to get all the slack out. And tighten it until it's tight. And then you go to the other side and do the other side before you ever climb up in the tree to make sure the stand doesn't come out of the tree. Once this is up, then you can climb up the tree. I would still have somebody to help support it to make sure the stand isn't moving from side to side at all. And now we're good to climb the tree and get the final strap up on. So now Jeff's going to hold the stand down on the ground, and I'm going to climb up, and we're going to hook up the strap on the top, and we'll be done with this stand except for cleaning up, putting in our bow holders. So it's pretty simple to do this. You just hook one strap in the hole there. Reach around the tree, grab the strap on this side. Make sure you have the strap up fairly high so you can get a good secure bite when you try to tighten this down. Then you just pull the strap, start ratcheting it, and we should be good to go. You want to make sure you get this as tight as you possibly can. So now our stand is tight. We can climb up, and you can tell it won't move. Now we're going to take and we're going to trim some limbs.
Scouter Carl, also known as Carl Kugler, and you're watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
This bad boy go, but wow, look at that fish.
Oh my God, that's a
wow.
The outdoor tip of the week is brought to you by Bennington Self-Storage.
Hi, I'm Jeff Wiswell with Lost Nation Outdoors. Hey deer hunters, this is your outdoor tip of the week. I have in my hands a 7-foot cedar tree that we put in within 30 yards of our tree stands. And you might ask why. Well, look at what these bucks are doing to this cedar post. They just love that fresh scent of the cedar post, and they are just absolutely shredding it. So get out, find yourself a cedar post, put it about 2 feet in the ground, 30 yards from your tree stand, and you will see more bucks. And that is your outdoor tip of the week.
I am Erica Tanner. Stay tuned for more Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped right after this.
Welcome back to Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped. I'm your host, Chris Bates, and boy, we are having such a great time here at the Novi Outdoorama. And as everybody knows, I go around and I look for cool topics to cover, and today we are with John Omer, and he is from the Michigan Big Buck Record Keepers, and we're going to learn a little bit today about how to score a deer. So we want to lay a bunch of rumors and fallacies, and we'll put it to bed. So thank you very much for doing this with us today. Couple questions.
Sure.
How did you get into scoring deer?
Well, I got into it by being lucky. I got a couple of deer back at 88 with a bow that made the record book, and I came down to this show. It was at the Michigan State Fairgrounds in Detroit back then.
Okay.
And I showed a picture of the 2 deer to the fella that's over here with the locked antler display. He was running the commemorative bucks booth back then at the show, and I showed him this picture. I said, do you think I should bother to get these scored? Oh yeah.
Right.
'Cause anyway, so he gave me a magazine with a highlighted phone number and name of a measurer close to me.
Right.
I took them and I got them scored. They both qualified for the record book, but then the measurer that measured them says, well, now you got to take them to Lansing to the deer spectacular and have them scored and entered into Pope and Young because they were qualified for the national record book. So I did that, and they got entered it, and I was just like dumbfounded by. We had wall like from here to the front of the building. We had walls of racks too high on boards.
Wow.
I mean, there's like between 400 and 500 deer every year came to the show, and I was just in awe. So anyway, I became a member of the club, of course, when I entered my deer, and then the following year, when I renewed my membership, I was in my late 30s or early 40s. I thought, well, you know, I'm going to live long enough to make this pay. I'm going to get a life membership. So I got a life membership, and then I saw in the magazine they were looking for measurers. Oh, that would be so cool to be able to see all these all the time. So I applied to become a measurer. I got a letter inviting me to go, and at the class, the instructor, the scoring chairman, had us all, he went around the room, had us all stand and say, you know, our name and where we're from. And everybody else said their name, and he says, yeah, we don't have a measure in that county, we needed one. And when he got to me and I said my name and county, he says, well, we've already got a measure in your county, but now that you're a life member, we can't get any more dues out of you, so we might as well put you to work. So, but I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've been a measurer now for 32 years, and deer like this here, I mean, I know, I mean, I can't say for sure, but I doubt that I will ever see anything like this in the woods. But I see deer like this at my home every year. I have 5 to 10 deer a year that are monsters like this show up, you know, and I get to share that excitement. What better payment could there be, you know?
So real quickly too, there's 2 different divisions. There's the Pope and Young and Boone and Crockett. And real quickly, the difference between the 2, because I think a lot of people don't understand the 2 if you're not in hunting.
The only difference, I mean, the scoring system is the same. The only difference between the 2 clubs is that Pope and Young is archery only, which means longbow, recurve, or compound. They do not accept crossbows. They do not accept any firearms of any kind. They don't have a pickup category. Boone and Crockett has all of those. I had a deer here yesterday that had been hit by a car that qualified for Boone and Crockett.
Wow.
I mean, but it's not the deer's fault that he was so huge and ran in front of a car, you know. So they do allow to reward, and Commemorative Bucks of Michigan, we do the same thing. We have that category.
Okay, and then the other thing too is a lot of people want to know what's the difference between green score and dry score.
Green.
And how long is that?
The drying period minimum is 60 days. Okay, and in that 60 days, the most I've ever seen shrinkage is the inside spread can shrink a ½ inch.
Okay.
And I have seen that more than once. And then the circumferences can shrink 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so as a rule, when we green score, I don't know if you can see these little marks on here. We've got inches,
I see
quarter,
that.
1/8 and 1/16.
Yeah.
Well, when we measure a circumference on a green score, say if we've got 3 3/16, we round it down to 3 1/8. And then when we dry score, we round it up. So that 3 3/16 would shrink down to 3 1/16. Now it's going to round back up to still be 3 1/16.
So you can tell the difference, I'm sure, right away if it's going to be green or if it's dry.
Yeah, usually it's by the time of year. But I mean, as far as a deer being mounted, that's usually a good sign that it's dry, because not many people can get them mounted in that 60 days.
So the next thing I'll ask you is, what are some of the things you're going to measure on? This one would be a typical, correct?
Yeah, he would score better as a typical.
Right.
He's got a few non-typical points.
Right.
And to explain that, it's very simple, really. The typical points on a whitetail come upward like the teeth on a comb.
Right.
And anything else is non-typical. Like here we've got one coming outward from this base. That's a non-typical. Here we've got a fork coming forward from the G2. That's non-typical. This is another non-typical. And with your circumferences, you go between the burr and the brow and the second and third and fourth. Now, if you don't have a fourth point, you go halfway between the center of the base of this tine and the tip, and you take your fourth circumference there. But there's always 4 circumferences.
Got it.
I mean, and with Boone and Crockett, like Commemorative Bucks only does deer, bear, elk, and turkey because that's what we have in Michigan. But for Boone and Crockett, Pope and Young, and the Long Hunter Society, which is black powder only, we do 33 species of North American game.
Wow.
And I mean, like a mountain goat, a buffalo, antelope, stuff like that. They don't have a lot of points to go by, so we have a quarter horn chart where we can tell the length of the horn, and they automatically quarter it out for us. We take one at the base, quarter of the way up, halfway, and then at 3/4 of the way.
Wow, that's interesting.
It's yeah, but at least they help us with it.
Right. So then you generally add up all the scores, and then you come up with a combined
a gross, what we call a gross score.
Okay.
Right. And the gross score, then you subtract the differences, and a lot of people wonder where the deductions come from.
Right.
And what the deductions are is the difference from the right to the left. Okay. Now, and people say, well, why did they? Well, because the man who invented the scoring system is a fellow named Teddy Roosevelt.
Right. We know him quite well.
Exactly. And I mean, with all the stuff that he's done for conservation and for hunting and for
right.
what, I mean, the things that we really love to do.
Right.
Okay. In honor of his effort, we keep that tradition going. And I mean, all the organizations do that. In the Pope and Young, Boone and Crockett, Long Hunters, all the state organizations, we all do the same thing. And so it was his idea to reward the rack for perfection. Okay?
Got it.
So now when we do a Boone and Crockett form, we have the typical score, okay, and then we have the non-typical score separate. Okay, so we get the net score, which is the gross minus the deductions, and then the non-typical are addressed afterward. If it's a non-typical score or non-typical animal, we add them. If it's a typical animal, they're subtracted.
Wow.
Along with the
So before we run out of time,
Sure.
How fast was your quickest, and how long was your longest
To score a deer?
to score a deer?
Well, like say a typical 8 or 10 point deer, I can go through it takes me a couple of minutes to tape. I mark the baselines with tape and everything, but once it's taped, and I usually have my wife scribe and write the numbers down for me, but once I've got that done, the actual measuring part I can do in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Okay. The math takes a few minutes extra and stuff like that. But now, a more complicated deer like this one that's got some non-typical stuff added on, that's a little bit more. That's going to take maybe 15 minutes. And it depends on how many points. I mean, I've had them come to my house that had 27 points, 28 points. Those will take an hour.
Wow.
Because it takes a lot of time
to mark it.
Well, and you've got to decide where your baselines are and stuff. Like this one here, it's got what they call the hourglass shape.
Yeah.
So it's common base all the way to the beam. So this one you would measure all the way to the beam on both points. If it had a kidney shape, I don't know if you see like that, you would stop like right about here, okay, and just measure from there out to the tip.
Right.
So there's some technicality to it. And then also, I don't know, you probably can't see over there, but we've got a short point right here, okay, and that is not a point, all right. The old Fred Trost rule about if you can hang a ring on it, it's a point, is not true. The rule is you have to come down 1 inch down the center of the axis of the point.
Okay.
And at that point, perpendicular to that axis, it has to be less than 1 inch wide.
Wow.
And that's true for all species that we score.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a lot of people that come to you and say, "Oh, you don't know what you're doing"? Do you ever have deer hunters?
I used to in like the first 20 years.
Right.
But since I've been doing this 32 years now, and now I have a lot of people that have been measuring for a long time come and ask me questions.
Wow.
So.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I probably could talk to you for hours, but we only have a short amount of time.
Right.
So
Yeah. No.
Thank you very much.
Thank
you. We're thankful that you're out doing this for everybody.
Well, it's the best thing I can do next to being out in the woods, which I enjoy too. But I'm at the point now where I don't even buy a buck tag until I've shot 3 does.
Right.
I've got a couple of wheelbarrows full of 1 and 2 year old racks.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of nice ones that made book, but I figure. I'm 71 years old now. It's time to let the younger people go after the horns, and I'm going to help them get the herd
Absolutely.
management.
All right, folks. We got to get running. We'll be back with more right after
Ray
this.
Tiffany with S2S Outdoors. You are watching Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped.
You can say she's got it all. In the serene woodlands of North America, a graceful creature roams the white-tailed deer. Known for their agility and beauty, these animals are symbols of the wild. Named for the striking white underside of their tails, which they flash as a warning signal, white-tailed deer are among the most recognizable wildlife in North America. These deer are highly adaptable, thriving in a variety of habitats, from dense forests to open fields. Their keen sense of smell, hearing, and sight help them detect predators, making them elusive and cautious. In the spring, does give birth to 1 to 3 fawns, which are born with white spots that provide camouflage in the dappled sunlight of the forest floor. Within a few weeks, they can run swiftly to avoid danger. White-tailed deer are herbivores, feeding on a diverse diet of leaves, twigs, fruits, and nuts. This varied diet allows them to sustain themselves throughout the changing seasons. Bucks, or male deer, are easily distinguished by their antlers, which they shed and regrow each year. These antlers are used in displays of dominance and in battles during the mating season, known as the rut. During the rut, bucks compete for the attention of does, engaging in ritualized battles that showcase their strength and stamina. As the day ends, the white-tailed deer seek shelter, resting and regrouping to face the challenges of the wild once more. The white-tailed deer, an enduring symbol of the wilderness, embodying grace, resilience, and the timeless beauty of nature. 39:56, you can say she's got it all. Secrets Unwrapped is brought to you in part by Cooler Guard with the cleaning power of enzymes, Fish Donkey, Hoffman Lures, White Rocks Design Studio, the official design company for Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped, Sugar Mountain Trading Company, Okuma Fishing, Get Inspired, Bennington Self Storage, P-Line, J. Robinson Outdoors, Outdoor Secrets Unwrapped hot sauce with that big craft heat and that big craft taste, the Outdoor Experience Guide Service serving Southern Wisconsin for over 20 years, Corker Boots, and a proud member of the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce.